everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, James, for having me once again. And thanks to everyone that took the time to listen in. I promise it will be worth it. For the ones that don't know me, my name is Isabel, and I lead the commercial operations at Adjust in the UK and Ireland. I wish my hair and my tan looked like that picture when I took it after my holiday, but after a year locked at home, this is the best that I could do. There you go. Cool. I've prepared an agenda today just to manage your expectations for today's session. Sit tight, grab a cuppa, and get ready for 30 minutes of very insightful content about OTT and CTV. I will start by presenting this short deck to get you familiar with the topic. I will focus on what are the latest OTT and TV consumption habits, and what's the role CTV has to play in here, and then what's the opportunities for mobile marketers. Then, the most exciting part of today's session, I'll spend around 20 minutes chatting with Gijsbert, who will tell you more about how you can capitalize on the behavioral changes identified and what you need to do to run successful advertising campaigns on CTV. I hope you enjoy. All right, just to start, both Gijsbert and I work for Adjust. We are a market leader in mobile attribution, fraud prevention, and campaign automation. We are a global SaaS company, and in this slide, you can see some stats that represent our business today. In short, our mission is to make marketing smarter, simpler, and more secure. 2020 was a tough year for some verticals in the advertising industry, as you well know. However, among all the paused and cancelled campaigns, digital video remains relatively stable, mostly driven by connected TV or CTV. According to IAB's US 2020 Digital Video Advertising Spend Report, putting COVID into context, CTV is largely responsible for the sector's resilience and was the least impacted by COVID-19. Let's now dive into how TV consumption is changing. Well, on average, mobile viewers spend 1 hour 30 watching OTT or online streaming content on their phones. This doesn't really come as a surprise to me. I spend endless hours watching TV shows and films on my phone every time the football is on and my partner takes control of the TV remote. But even then, for the football lovers in the audience, he relies on CTV to watch it, something that you wouldn't a few years ago. Okay, sure thing, right? This is also, not rocket science, it's not surprising. I'll also use the bigger screen whenever I can. But let's think about it. We don't really watch TV the same way as we did 5 years ago now, do we? Does anyone in the audience rely on a TV without some sort of connection to the internet? No, right? Even if it's built in or through a connected device? I don't think so. But what about this one? When was the last time someone in here rented or bought a DVD? I was still in my 20s, guys. It was a long time ago. Still not convinced? Let's check the next couple of slides then. Yep. Most people don't rely on cable TV anymore. We pay for streaming services that can be distributed via applications, which can then run in a variety of operating systems, and bottom line, connected or plugged into our TV. According to eMarketer, in 2020, US OTT subscription revenues increased by 41%, in part because the pandemic drove people to pay for more video services. I can definitely relate to that. This year, OTT subscription revenues will increase by another 30%. Here's some interesting stats for England. Ofcom estimates that 23% of online adult population in the UK gained access to a new subscription video on-demand service during lockdown. From these 12 million people, 3 million accessed it for the first time, while 7 million gained access to an additional service. Well, I'm currently subscribed to 5 different OTT services. Who's with me? All right, what does this slide tell us? Well, advertisers are missing a huge opportunity to connect with their customers and increase customer loyalty. We're all missing out, guys. Hopefully not for long. We've conducted a global survey, and the majority of respondents named streaming apps as their most recently bought app subscription, the only exception being Japan, where gaming takes the lead. Here's some stats. Streaming apps are the most popular choice in the US, China, and Turkey, with 31%, 30%, and 27% of respondents, respectively. Respondents from Japan named gaming apps as the most recent bought app subscription, and 16% of the respondents said this, while compared to 8% for streaming. Okay, so by now, I hope that we're all convinced that we have subscribed to tons of different OTT services and often watch this type of content on connected TVs. But what's the difference between the two, right? Can we get a head around that? Let's go back to basics. The term OTT stands for over the top, just like me. Sorry, that was bad. The term is used for media services that deliver content to consumers on demand via the internet. The OTT media services predominantly use streaming technique to deliver content, although some allow for consumers to download content as well. Well, I remember a year ago when I used to go to work, and during my commute, before leaving the house, I would download tons of shows and films, and I'll watch that in the tube on my way to work. Examples of OTT media services are Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu. The content these companies deliver is typically video content, which is why OTT is strongly associated with watching TV. However, OTT should not be confused with CTV. A connected TV is a TV device with an access to the internet or an internet connection via either a built-in technology like a smart TV, a receiver boxer, or a gaming console. Its opposite, meaning a TV without an internet connection, is referred to as a linear TV in a marketing context. While it is true that connected TV plays an important role for OTT consumption, let's not forget other devices, right? I still watch tons of TV on my phone. People use it on their desktops, tablets, etc. All right, what's the opportunity we have at hands as mobile marketeers when it comes to CTV? With CTV, the possibilities of what people can do on this large engaging screen are just emerging. We're just scratching the surface here, guys. Consumers can now play games, watch TV shows and films, learn a new language, listen to Spotify, or even take a yoga class, like me, for example. And all of this from their connected TVs. For marketeers, this means discovering a new and exciting advertising ecosystem where the measurement of digital means the unique reach of TV. And the opportunity to build creative and custom ads is endless. We're going to show you some of these ads later on, which is quite great. But now, how can you ensure you're not wasting your ad budgets, right? You can only make data-driven budget decisions if you measure the performance of your marketing activity. It's not enough to step into the CTV world. This can only be an opportunity for you to increase ROI, boost user engagement and loyalty if you can track everything. Can we help? We certainly can. Adjust offers you measurement for CTV apps and OTT advertising for mobile apps. As well, we enable you to capture key subscription events and combine them with robust attribution data from your OTT campaigns to maximize ROI, retention, engagement efforts, re-engagement efforts for your CTV app. You can grow your app on mobile and CTV devices. Adjust enables you to track the full user journey if you are promoting your mobile app on Hulu or Disney Plus, for example, or if you are promoting your CTV app on Roku or Amazon Fire TV. I've spent the last 10 minutes running through why we should invest in CTV. Let's now dive into best practices with our in-house expert. Gijsbert, hi. Can you quickly introduce yourself before we begin?
Yeah, so my name is Gijsbert Pols. That's a Dutch name, in case you wonder. I work at Adjust as lead product strategist. It's my job to look for Horizon 2 markets, and I've been leading our OTT and CTV initiatives.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gijsbert. I always like to start my fireside chats with an icebreaker. So there you go. What OTT service did you use the most in the last 12 months? And was this different before lockdown?
It's a very boring answer, I'm afraid. It's Netflix. So it's and next to that, I think it's YouTube. Looking at some football summaries from the Zone on Monday morning. But it's not very spectacular.
Well, I do the same, to be honest with you. not the football bit, but okay. And what's your CTV choice? What's the connected TV that you use the most?
Well, one of the nice things about my job is that I get to test a lot of stuff. So I've seen them all, so to say. I tend to stick to my Samsung device, which is in a living room. And I think we'll come to that later, but you don't move TVs around that much. So once it's there, it's there, and you're used to it. And yeah, so it's Samsung.
Thank you very much. It sounds like you're doing very interesting research. If there's any freebies involved, I want to get involved as well, right? If you want to give me any, yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
Thank you so much. This was already worth it, guys. All right, let's kick things off. Okay, so first question for you, Gijsbert. How does the connected in CTV changes the nature of television?
Well, I think it's not rocket science. What you get is increased customer choice, increased customer control over content. So what's gone is the hey, what's on the tube tonight? Also, we'll see more interaction between the device and consumers. Television is a laid-back device, unlike a mobile device or a desktop device. But by making it connected to the World Wide Web, it's becoming a more interactive device. And that means, to name one example to see how far and how quickly this goes, is that it's opening up for new verticals. A lot of us associate the whole CTV stuff with Netflix and Disney Plus and Discovery Plus and whatever plus. But we see that gaming, for example, is moving very rapidly into the CTV space as well. 25% of all the apps on Apple TV devices are gaming apps. Other platforms such as Amazon Fire, Roku, Samsung, there it's a little bit less, 15 to 20%, but the gaming apps are among the most used on these connected television platforms.
So do you have any exciting games that you could recommend to the audience? What games do you play in your CTV?
Yeah, but that's there you have some things stay the same. Because the television device is still very much a social device. Again, exactly. Unlike mobile or gaming consoles. So it stands in the living room, it doesn't move around, and therefore it's a little bit the modern equivalent of the fire. So where people gather in the evening. So if you think about gaming here, the most successful games on CTV are party games, are competing with board games, for example, or are an extension of existing board games, which are played by people together with their friends.
Absolutely. But also, if I take my glasses, I'm a bit blind. So, trying to do a yoga class, or for example, from Fit, I also have that subscription for that app. Trying to do an exercise from Fit on my phone, it's it's quite hard for someone with my eye capabilities. So I usually put it on my CTV. That's also another very exciting vertical to consider, right?
Definitely, definitely. We're seeing lots of yoga apps and apps that go into the general exercise, fitness. Even travel apps is becoming a more popular vertical. Probably because of the quality, you can,
Mm.
create better pictures and see better picture. And people
Well,
like to see, particularly now, pictures of exotic locations and think about, well, God knows when we'll be able to travel there
I
again. So,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would be easily convinced, if I could see it in a better screen, bigger screen, right? Like, yes, I'll buy that. Yes, where do I sign? Yes, yes, yes. All right. So how can advertisers take advantage of these changes, Gijsberg, in your opinion?
Well, ideally, CTV brings together the best of digital with the best of television. So you have the measurability and the targetability of digital and on the one side, and you have the quality of TV on the other side. Maybe because of this quality, maybe because TV is more laid back, you also have a bigger tolerance of ads. Now, so you could, if you manage to bring these together, you're in a very, very strong place. Intermediaries such as the trade desks have already moved heavily into the CTV space. And we're now witnessing that the biggest streamers, Roku and Disney, have all set up their own ad tech services. Roku bought a DSP and filled it with their inventory, enabling very, very good targeting. But yeah, you can target people with very high quality messages.
And speaking of I touched on creatives before, right? What's the opportunity here? Not just the quality of the message, but the quality of the creative as well. How interactive can this be?
Well, the most exciting things are the ad formats that utilize the potential of the digital aspect. We already have seen some ads that go into this direction. Actually, we have an example of this.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, so James, if you could put
James,
that one on.
Thank you. Does it have sound?
Oh, something went wrong there. Well,
there we go.
I think your mom invented it.
And why are we doing it?
You haven't heard the news.
Yeah. So what you see here, there we have it. What you see here is an ad for toilet paper. Here's
Your mom invented it.
And why are we doing it?
You haven't heard the news.
That appears as soon as you hit the pause button.
That makes total sense because
which is well, very, very innovative in many ways. So first, it's extremely contextual. It's not disruptive like most ads on mobile, but also traditional TV commercials. They get in the way of what you actually want to do. But this just pops up in a place which is highly relevant because, I mean, why do you hit the pause button, right? It's we're all humans. We can talk about this. The next step, I think we'll talk a little bit about that later, but the next step would be adding.
No, James, not yet. That's okay. We can get out of the videos now. Yeah, thank you.
The next step is, allowing consumers to order the toilet paper directly.
Exactly.
Because, if you hit that part, you might have the trigger of, damn it, it's something people forget. And
listen, I have Post-its everywhere on my desk with my shopping list that, one day I remember that I need something and I write it down, but then it just gets piled in this crazy Post-it thing going around here. So if I just see something and I can buy it straight away and click on it, that'd be great.
Yeah, and the deeper meaning of that is that television, by getting connected, it is turning into a performance channel next to being a branding channel.
So, okay, so we mentioned performance, right? The next step will be to start driving revenue through purchases and all of that from those contextual ads. But what about branding? Does that mean that branding is going away, or is this going to be changed in a way as well?
It's not going away. And I think connected TV can take TV branding to a next level. We also have a very impressive example here from Tencent. James, if you could put that on, please. Yeah, so this is pretty impressive. This is ads that are being placed directly into video content. By the way, this video was made by Tencent Video, the gaming, well, the huge corporate company from China. And you need to realize, but because of the fact you can change this, this is also localizable, maybe even adjustable on an individual level. And yeah, so you really see branding going to a unprecedented heights there. You can even think of bringing them together, you know, allowing people to buy, you know, so the performancing and the branding side. So if you see certain clothes, say in The Crown, you know, or food even, you could allow people to buy it. So buy the clothes people see in The Crown, buy the food people see in The Crown, and even adjust the food. Okay, maybe that doesn't work for The Crown, but for other series, adjust the food to people's preferences. It's going very, very, very far.
Honestly, I would pay to see someone walking around with clothes from The Crown. Really, that would be quite funny. But I get the idea.
Think about buying the suit of Daniel Craig, you know?
Yeah, why not? Why not, right? Exactly.
It's going to end up in some discussions within families, but yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so where does mobile come into play, right?
Yeah, so we could talk for the rest of the afternoon about that, but I think there are two main points to make. So the first one is that we all need to realize that the mobile phone is a video streaming device. You've already mentioned this shortly in your presentation. People stream on their mobile phone. The second thing is that dual screening is a thing. People watch television with their mobile phone at hand. Let's start with dive into a little bit into the mobile phone as a streaming device first. So we did a survey, and 1/3 of respondents stream video on their mobile phone every day. And there are very few people who never do this. And they don't just do this for commute or for the short-term format. No, they actually watch 2 hours, 3 hours, at least over 50% indicates that, you know.
It's called Netflix binge watching in bed. I do that all the time.
Yeah, and people actually do that. And actually, people do that more since the pandemic kicked in. So we all had this. There was this myth going around, and companies have been built on this myth. Think about Quibi, for example, that you know, mobile streaming was something that was happening in commute. It's not true. People watch stuff on their mobile phone at home, and a lot of people do that. Yeah, the average session, in fact, is over 30 minutes, you know, so that's a lot of a lot of time people spend on their mobile phone.
And what about the dual screening? You mentioned dual screening there before, because yes, I do that. I watch TV whilst doing shopping, or you know, there's many other things that I do. So what about dual screening?
Yeah, this was also part of our survey. We saw that 80% of consumers use their mobile phone while watching TV. Among the apps they use most frequently are communication apps, which is obvious. People talk with their friends, with their peers, with their mums about what they see. Have you seen this? You know, but people also use finance apps, for example, while watching. So maybe they watch the news and immediately look at the effects it has on their stock, or they are generally quite watching their stocks carefully. So while they watch football, they also keep an eye on how their finances are doing. So people do that, and marketers can take advantage of this. So because there's this interactive potential, in fact, Burger King already did this. What they did, they had a TV commercial which had a QR code moving over the screen. And if you manage to scan the QR code, you got, I think, a free Whopper or something. You got free stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Now, obviously, whether this works for all verticals, you can have lengthy debates about that. I think it works very well for fast-moving consumer goods, people that, stuff that is bought on impulse. For stuff that is more expensive, maybe that it doesn't work so well. But what you can, what you can think of is building in call to actions in your CTV ads, where the action is on the mobile phone. And I think that can become an extremely powerful tool, not just for user acquisition, but also for retention, to get people engaged again. Because the mobile phone is there while people watch TV.
Of course, because you might subscribe and start in this device, but then you might use the CTV a lot more. I do that for my yoga classes and my fitness classes, for example. Rarely I watch it on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, think about the toilet paper again. How great would it be if you could see that ad, you hit pause, and oh damn it, I forgot about that, and you just go bleep, and you've done. Have it delivered the next day or the next hour, depending on the need.
Okay. Cool. So thank you, Gijsbert. And what can marketers who want to advertise on CTV do today?
So there's really lots of work to do. I think now is the time to think about how suitable your app is for CTV, particularly if you're in gaming. It's not very hard to experiment with this. Apple and Android have TV platforms, and the apps for these platforms are written in the same language, at the risk of going a bit technical now, but they're written in the same language as the mobile app. So it's relatively easy. Don't pin me down on it, but it's relatively easy to develop a CTV app if you already have a functioning mobile app. I think, do the creative work. What we were saying about having a call to action in TV advertising that works for mobile, that's something you can think about, whether it's a QR code or something along those lines. Having people send information, requesting information via the mobile phone. That's something you can think about. Check out the DSPs, because there's a lot. I already mentioned the trade desks, and the streaming services are offering are very, very impressive. You can really do fantastic targeting there. Be a little bit careful, because there's a lot of money going into CTV right now, and obviously, we've seen some very big fraud cases. So don't go after every hype. And finally, well, speaking a little bit for Adjust now, but find an MMP that has the expertise and solutions to offer in the CTV and OTT space, and sure that you can measure your effectiveness and that you can protect yourselves against ad fraud.
Thank you so much, Gijsbert. That was super insightful. That was lots that we covered here today. So maybe to wrap up, we can just summarize what we've just been talking about for the last 30 minutes. And, from your point of view, what's the 3 key learnings you would like the audience to take away from today's session?
Well, I think the first one would be never forget that people are streaming not just on connected television devices, but on mobile phones as well. The second one, dual screening is a reality, and it is also the key to app promotion on connected TV devices. The third thing is start doing research. There's a lot to gain. It's exciting, it's interesting, and the audiences are there now. So it's time to start thinking about it.
Cool. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much, Gijsbert. It's a pleasure doing this with you. James, thank you so much for having us, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice rest of the day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.